This is a guide from start to finish on how to practice Stoicism in your life. And it will only take this short video to understand everything and to incorporate it into your life. And as the Stoics say, live the good life, like Emperor Marcus Aurelius or Seneca or Epictetus. So let's begin. My name is William Mulligan, and this is The Everyday Stoic. I simplify, modernize, and make practical the ancient teachings of Stoicism so you can incorporate them into your life instantly so that you can become the best version of yourself. You don't need a degree to understand these videos. Anyone can understand them and incorporate it into their life, because that is what philosophy was for. It's for the practical, to improve your life and the world around you. So let's jump into it from start to finish. Stoicism was started in 301 BCE by a man named Zeno of Citium. He was a wealthy merchant who was shipwrecked, lost everything, faced death, and he washed ashore and went out and taught his philosophy, which became Stoicism. He taught under the Stoa Poikile, which means painted porch, and that became Stoicism, the philosophy of the porch. So firstly, the goal of Stoicism. What is the goal of Stoicism? It is to ultimately be a good person, to live in accordance with nature and be a good person. What is nature? The Stoics believed in Zeus's will, God's plan. It's fate that's been laid out for you, and to live in accordance with nature is to just embrace this, as the Stoics say, amor fati, to love your fate. I've actually got a shirt on it, love of one's fate. This reminder is when bad things happen, you say, I love it, this is the fate that was planned out for me. Good things happen, you love it. Either way, you love it because this was always going to happen, it was determined for you. So then you say, what is good? What does it mean to be a good person? The Stoics had a structure to categorize things into good, bad, indifferent. So virtue alone is good. There's wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Vice alone is bad. Injustice, intemperance, cowardice, and foolishness. And then indifference. There is preferred indifference and dispreferred indifference. Everything else that wasn't on that list is a preferred or dispreferred indifference. So things like health, wealth, fame, friendship, companionship, work, all these kind of things, they're indifferent, and it's kind of up to you to decide if they're preferred. Things like health are preferred indifferences, because being healthy is a good thing for you, but it doesn't always mean it's good, because you can use health for bad. So if you follow vice and be healthy, then you could be an evil dictator, healthy evil dictator, punishing lots of people. So it's not always a good thing, not always a bad thing. It's up to the person to decide. If you act on these things using virtue, then it will be good. Act on it using vice, then it will be bad. So that's the goal of Stoicism. Be good, live in accordance with nature. Very simplified, but that's the goal. And so good is the virtues: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. These are a bit different to what you understand of these words. Courage, also known as fortitude, is represented with the lion. Courage can mean to face fears or bear unpleasant feelings such as hunger, fatigue, and pain. The Stoics believe that fear does more harm than a thing that we fear. Courage can be broken down into endurance, confidence, high-mindedness, cheerfulness, industriousness. Justice, represented with the symbol of the eagle, is to seek to help others, aim for the common welfare of mankind, desire to help others, even our enemies, bringing them closer to wisdom. Justice can be broken down into piety, honesty, equity, fair dealing. Temperance, known as moderation, is represented with the symbol of the ox. And temperance can be sacrifice in service of wisdom and justice, limit desire to what reason determines appropriate, remove excess and overindulgence, good discipline, seemliness, modesty, self-control. Wisdom, represented with the symbol of a man. Wisdom is knowing what helps us flourish and what harms us. It's knowing what is good or bad or indifferent. It is good sense, good calculation, quick-wittedness, discretion, resourcefulness. What is the end goal of Stoicism? The end goal is known as eudaimonia. Eudaimonia can be translated as human flourishing or happiness or welfare. Eudaimonia is achieved when we follow the eudaimonia triangle, which is to take responsibility, live with virtue, and to focus on what we can control. Which brings me to my next point, and is a topic that comes up a lot in Stoicism, and it's one of the core principles, the dichotomy of control, explained by Epictetus. Some things are within our power, some things are not. Within our power are our opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power, our wealth, our health, our reputation, our office, and in a word, whatever is not of our own doing. The Stoics believed that this is a core principle to finding peace, reducing stress, reducing anxiety, and finding simplicity in life when we can not focus on the things outside of our control and only pay attention to the things within our control. Things become easier and we find more power. There is a common misconception about Stoicism that it is about self, keeping on your grind, ignoring everyone else, blocking out the noise. This is completely wrong, and one of the core principles of Stoicism is sympatheia, the idea that all of our fates are woven in by Clotho, the goddess, and our natures are all woven together, so it's like we're all part of one big community. So doing good for yourself should do good for others, doing good for others should do good for yourself. That's a basic principle, and this is encapsulated by the virtue of justice, which the Stoics believed was the most important virtue. So we have to care for others and do good for the common welfare of mankind. And then the last principle, before we get into where you can learn how to get started, what books to read, who to follow, the last principle is that Epictetus said, it is not things that harm us, but our perception of these things. This quote right here became the building blocks for cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a very popular therapy technique. And it's just being aware that it's not necessarily things that harm us, but it's our perception about these things. It's how we interpret events and situations and objects and people, how we interpret them is the harm that it does to us, as the Stoics believed, and has been backed up with science. Two things you may hear a lot in Stoicism, two Latin words, memento mori and amor fati. Amor fati is the shirt I'm wearing. Memento mori is simply to remember death, or remember you are mortal. It's very popular in Stoicism. It was very popular throughout history, but the idea is just you say to yourself memento mori, you keep a skull with you, you use a memento mori poster, calendar, and you just remind yourself that you are mortal. This time is limited and you can't just waste it. You have to be present and grateful for the time that you have. The question I get asked all the time, what book do I read? The first book I ever read on Stoicism, before I knew what Stoicism was the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. It was this translation, and I've made crazy notes. I mean, the book's fallen apart, I've had it for years and just write crazy notes. This is the diary of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, the most famous Stoic there is, and he just wrote his own diary as his own personal thoughts. So when you read this, you get a practical side to Stoicism. You understand how to incorporate it into your life. But it doesn't really explain what Stoicism is. Then you have Massimo Pigliucci's Live Like a Stoic. This is very practical, very easy to read, very easy to incorporate into your life. So there's that book. And then William B. Irvine's A Guide to the Good Life. This destroyed a lot of myths about Stoicism. People thought Stoicism was about being tough, harsh, cold. And then you hear something, A Guide to the Good Life. Very contradictory of the impression people had, but a very good book. And my favorite of the list, apart from meditation, is How to Live Like a Roman Emperor by Donald Robertson. Very good book, but if you want to get started, you can read any of them. It will give you a good idea how to practically incorporate it, what Stoicism is. These two explain what Stoicism is. This is how to practically incorporate it. And then this is the most popular literature you'll read on Stoicism. And it's incredible. I read it every day. So that's what to read on Stoicism. Two other books for further reading, if you're interested, and it's from the most popular Stoics. There's three very popular Stoics: Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius. Their books are The Enchiridion of Epictetus, or Letters from a Stoic by Seneca. Very highly recommended, but these are where you can get started. So, who do you trust in Stoicism? Who do you follow? Who do you listen to? If you want to go on an Instagram page and follow someone, or read their articles, or watch their YouTube videos, who should you trust? Because there's so much misinformation now. And I would say, straight away, Donald Robertson. He wrote How to Live Like a Roman Emperor. Donald Robertson is actually my favorite teacher of Stoicism. It's someone I've learned so much from. I listen to all his podcasts. And he's very highly recommended, very trusted source, very knowledgeable, incredibly knowledgeable. And then Massimo Pigliucci, again, super knowledgeable, super interesting, knows so much about Stoicism. William B. Irvine, again, just like those two, teaches Stoicism, very knowledgeable on the topic. And then lastly, the most well-known, Ryan Holiday. His book is here. I mean, I've got a few of his books here. He's the most known teacher of Stoicism, very knowledgeable. Ryan Holiday is an expert in Stoicism. He knows so much that he's able to just break it down very simply and explain it to anyone. Whereas the other few people might be a bit more complex, Ryan Holiday can just break it down, and you just read some of his stuff and it's more catchy. You remember it a lot easier because I guess he was an expert in marketing, so he's good at getting the message across very simply, which is appreciated by many. He's the reason Stoicism is so popular in recent days. And then we're coming to the end of this. I think you have almost everything. If you want to listen to podcasts, I recommend just typing in Donald Robertson. His podcast isn't that big, but he's appeared on other people's podcasts, and I could just listen to him talk for days. Very knowledgeable. I wish there was more out there of him. And that's everything on Stoicism. Another good idea would be to subscribe to The Everyday Stoic, where I just try to explain all these things. Follow me on Instagram at TheEverydayStoic. This should be everything you need to get started in Stoicism. Stoicism is simple. Most of philosophy is simple. It's just we've believed that you have to go to college or university to understand all these complex ideas, and you have to learn all this ancient history. Stoicism is very simple. Everything you've heard in the video is enough to start you off and keep you going for a very long time. And you'll just start to pick up on things by watching maybe my videos, following me on Instagram, reading these books. You know, questions will be raised when you read a quote from Marcus Aurelius, and maybe you can just Google it, search it somewhere, and you reach the answer. That's all Stoicism is. But the most important thing is to practically incorporate it into your life. Don't just talk what a good man is, be a good man. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Because summer is coming into full effect and the sun is coming out, there is a sale on the Memento Mori, Amor Fati, and the Stoic t-shirt on the Everyday Stoic website. It's a buy one, get one free. You buy one t-shirt, you get one free. I would recommend buying size up. This is a large and it's a tiny bit tight on me. I normally wear a large, but I feel like it's a bit tighter than I like. Maybe that's what you like. So using code SUN, S-U-N, you can get buy one, get one free. And an interesting thing about sun was Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, philosopher king Marcus Aurelius, it was his last words. He said, and this is recorded in history, and there's a painting of this moment, is, "Go to the rising sun, for I am already setting." He was talking about his son, Commodus, but also talking about the future emperor, which he called the sun, the rising sun. He is already setting, S-U-N. Did I confuse things by saying sun, his son Commodus, and rising sun? I don't know, but the code is S-U-N. That was just an interesting fact, and there's a painting I did a video on by Eugène Delacroix called The Final Words of the Emperor, which is a very nice painting. It depicts his final moments when he lay there dying. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope this video helps you on your journey through Stoicism. Subscribe and follow me so you can stay on that journey. I'm trying to keep the momentum going, keep people involved in Stoicism, because I think it can help everyone. It's an incredible philosophy, very practical, it can help everyone, very simple, and people have described it as attractive as opposed to all these other philosophies that just seem a bit too wishy-washy or too complex. Very attractive, I've heard. So thank you for the subscribers, YouTube members, everyone on Instagram, at TheEverydayStoic. Thank you for everyone buying all the t-shirts and supporting what I'm doing, and the Memento Mori calendar and the meditations journal. Let me know if you've been using your journal. Let me maybe share what you've wrote in it. I haven't wrote that much in mine. I'm like thinking maybe been putting too much thought into it, and I don't want to write thoughts that are wrong. So but it's good. Maybe after a year it will be full, or maybe after 2 years it will be full. I don't know how long it will take me, but only the best thoughts are getting in there. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.